Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday night, Sunday, November the 16th. Welcome back to football. I'm sure you're not fully enjoying that if you're a Titans fan. I don't know what you're doing if you're a Titans fan, but I know that Jeff Simmons is tired of the shit. Jeff Simmons, who came back today for the first time in several weeks, coming off the bye week, coming off the hamstring injury. Jeff Simmons has had enough of the Titans losing ways, and he is comfortable calling everybody out in that locker room, and deservedly so. We are in a situation now. If you're watching the Tennessee Titans, if you're covering the Tennessee Titans, if you are the Tennessee Titans, where they're getting worse, they are failing Cam Ward continuously, and it's to the point now where you are seeing active detriment to the number one overall pick at quarterback happening in real time in ways that are completely unacceptable. And Cam Ward is also not playing good football. Cam Ward was bad today until the final quarter, essentially. And he had a big throw, a 38-yard throw to Chigakonko to set them up for the opportunity to tie the game, which they did. And then they would eventually lose the game because one big throw in the fourth quarter after you effed around and found out for the first three is not sufficient enough, and that is the reason, in big part, why you are 1-9. Now, today, it was not all Cam Ward's fault, even though Cam Ward was not any good. It was J.C. Latham's fault. It was Lloyd Cushenberry's fault. It was Tony Pollard's fault. It was Darrell Baker Jr.'s fault. It was Mike McCoy's fault. A lot of people to blame at this point in time for where the Titans are in this sort of thing. But Jeffery Simmons, who came back and played well in this game, and who, alongside Arden Key, played well in this game, the defense gave them an opportunity to win the game, is just sick of everybody else around him underperforming, and he said as much in the locker room. So we're going to get into that on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Share the show if you are so inclined, wherever it is that you are spending your precious and valuable time with us. We do appreciate it as we get you wrapped up in time for Sunday Night Football between the Lions at the Eagles. A.J. Brown being much discussed at this point. Apparently he's making promises to ownership about the fact that he will not air his grievances on social media moving forward in Philadelphia, but that's not relevant to you because that's a 7-2 team problem. You've got a 1-9 team problem at this point in time. You've got several problems at 1-9, but one of those is the fact that your number 7 overall pick at tackle is just dreadful right now, and is a huge part of the reason that you lost this game today. Jeff Simmons is who we are going to hear from on it. You'll also hear from J.C. Latham, who had, I would argue, his worst performance of the season. And we will talk about the implications of this moving forward, specific to Jeff Simmons. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday night. If you're just now joining us, I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by TDOT. Nobody Trashes Tennessee is where you go to be a part of the solution to end littering in this great state. NobodyTrashesTennessee.com for more details. By Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service is what they offer. By Trumav Fitness in the Gulch, where your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. At TrumavFitness.com, your first workout is free, as I mentioned. And Simon Says Nashville, where I bought some awesome stuff on Friday night, I do believe. And in fact, I'll probably show off some of my new duds to you at some point this week so you can see what kind of great things that are on offer also for 40% off right now at SimonSaysNashville.com for more information. Titans lose again, back from the bye, 1-9, 16-13 to the Houston Texans. And it was as boring a game as the score would indicate. It was more boring of a game than the score would indicate, and Davis Mills just eventually figured it out. The Titans' defense held up until it could not hold up anymore, and Cam Ward's playmaking was too late by the time he finally got around to making a play. But on the whole, tonight is about Jeffery Simmons, who's the one good thing that this franchise is currently doing, and who's recently returned from a hamstring injury, who went out there, who busted his ass, who got involved, who brought Davis Mills down, who made plays, who helped make plays for other people. And Jeffery Simmons is finally at a point where he's like, enough of this shit. I wouldn't say that he's fully unfiltered in the locker room in this clip that you're going to hear, but it's as pointed of criticism of his teammates and of the locker room as I've seen Jeffery Simmons. And by the way, it's earned. Here's here's what I think about Jeff, okay? And I understand that I have had pretty strong criticisms of Jeffrey Simmons in the last couple of years, and that Jeff and I, famously, we have disagreed about some of these things, and that we have come to an agreement about what is fair and what is not fair to criticize Jeffrey Simmons on. And Jeff is struggling or has struggled with the idea that he is a player who is excellent on a very, very bad football team, playing for a very, very bad football organization, and that at a certain point he has been thrust into this situation where he is having to help or try his damnedest to steer this thing through. He hasn't done it perfectly. But I think I said this at some point, whether it be on primetime or on the radio show, and it's not just blowing smoke up Jeff's ass because he doesn't need it. He's 1-9. I mean, he needs wins at this point in time, as you'll hear him say. But I think that Jeffrey has handled this year as well as humanly possible, to his credit. I think that he has shown incredible growth, incredible maturity, and that he has shown the kind of leadership that we have been waiting for Jeffrey Simmons to show for the entirety of his career. He's only 28 years old. And maybe it takes some guys a little longer to fully embrace that role, but we're at a point where Jeff Simmons is, no more kid gloves like this is. And I don't think Jeffrey is somebody who usually operates with kid gloves anyway, but specific to his teammates, he's fed up as I've ever heard him with this circumstance. And the question on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch becomes, as we sit here on this Sunday night, what was the most disappointing part of the Titans' loss to the Texans today? Give me your comments on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. What was the most disappointing part? Was it Cam? Was it the defense at the end? Was it Mike McCoy's conservative play calling? Again, was it the rushing attack, the non-existent rushing attack that is supposed to, in some form or fashion, take pressure off this poor rookie quarterback who's just trying to make something happen and who is not himself good enough to do these things, but he is being asked to do these things on his own? Is it the fact that Calvin Ridley was lost for the rest of the season on the first offensive play for the Titans with a broken fibula? Calvin Ridley's probably last snap as a Titan took place on a play where he has recently come back from a hamstring injury and immediately broke his leg. So he's in a really bad spot. There's a lot of disappointing things to talk about. What was the most disappointing thing to you in the comments section? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. It's your Two Rivers Ford take, made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer. That's Two Rivers Ford. Quality, American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service, and real deals. Two Rivers Ford always goes above and beyond to deliver and to make sure that the price that you see when you go to the dealership is the price that you will pay. No surprises, no tacked-on warranties or upgrades or a different kind of things that you didn't ask for, and you go to check out and you go to pay for your vehicle, and it's a much different price than you were prepared to pay. No, Two Rivers Ford always makes sure that you get the best vehicle for your family's budget and for your family's needs. At Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So Jason Hollinsworth says all of it. All of it was bad. All of it was bad today at Nissan Stadium. I would agree, except the defense played, I thought, well enough to for a winning performance. I thought special teams was fine. And again, the offense, at least there was an offensive touchdown scored today, but it was far too little, far too late for the Titans to put themselves in a position to win this game. They did put themselves in a position to tie the game. Mike McCoy opted to kick an extra point as opposed to going for two. I disagreed with that particular position, but the numbers, if you run things analytically, would say that it's in that situation with about a minute and a half left on the clock in the game that Mike McCoy was fine to kick the extra point and try and get a defensive stop, which the Titans ultimately were not able to do, and gave up the game-winning field goal. But the most disappointing thing to me today was J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham garnered himself 4 penalties. He had 3 false starts at home in front of a crowd that was not raucous, in front of a Texans contingent that was not overwhelming. They did not take over the stadium. It's not the Packers or the Vikings or the Eagles or the Chiefs that came to Nissan Stadium today. The Texans are not an overwhelmingly loud and proud fan base, but there was enough of them today, but not enough to cause J.C. Latham at home to experience the kind of difficulties that he did. And beyond the kind of difficulties that J.C. Latham experienced as far as the penalties go, he was just objectively bad. And there are plenty of offensive tackles that are going to struggle against the Houston Texans defensive front, but this was J.C. Latham's first opportunity to play them because he did not play this game in week 4. And he was worse than Oli Udoh was against the Houston Texans today. And then after the fact, when the Titans lose again, and we head into the locker room to talk, well, we do Mike McCoy's press conference. Then we head into the locker room to talk to the other players. Then we do Cam Ward's press conference. It's typically the custom. J.C. Latham, obviously, was one of the players that we wanted to talk to because, hey, bud, what the hell? You got no business being this bad. And he understands that. But something that is developing around J.C. Latham is concerning to me. And it was, I get he's a second-year player. And that as we talk about Jeff's growth and maturity, that it's taken Jeffery Simmons several years to kind of grow into the kind of person that you have always wanted Jeff to be in the locker room, beyond the player, right? But the person. JC, he started off by not making excuses for himself. And then it very quickly devolved into excuse making of the highest order in ways that are probably best left unsaid if you're the offensive lineman who singularly had 4 penalties called against him today. This was J.C. Latham in the locker room. This was the most disappointing thing about the Titans' loss to me today. Not just J.C.'s performance, but J.C. after the fact. I thought it was a glaring lack of accountability. You're going to hear from him right after I remind you that the Primetime program made possible by Nobody Trashes Tennessee, except for the Tennessee Titans. They trash Tennessee constantly. But you, while you cannot fix your football team, you can be a part of the solution to end littering. And TDOT offers you the opportunity to get involved with any of their great volunteer programs to help keep this great state litter-free. NobodyTrashesTennessee.com for more details. Be a part of the solution to end littering, as I mentioned, courtesy of the Tennessee Department of Transportation. The most disappointing part today of yet another Titans loss at 1-9 is the number 7 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, J.C. Latham. His performance on the field, and then his comments off the field. Oh, I guess is it not playing? I'm not sure what's going on. Robert's situation appears to be frozen. Is this not playing for you guys? Okay. It doesn't appear to be working the way that we need it to work. I'm not sure what's going on our end. Okay, Robert has dropped out of the stream, and I guess he'll come back in and try and put the video back in for us. Sorry about that. We got a few technical difficulties on our end, but I can read you some. Oh, the power went out at Robert's house. Okay, he's saying that the power is back on at his home. He is going to jump back in. I'm going to tell him that the video did not play at his convenience. So we will get Robert back in and we will get the J.C. Latham video. Apologies for that. That is beyond our control here at this point in time. And says Bert is as reliable as J.C. No, I think that was outside of his control. But it is disappointing. What I can play for you is Robert Walsh is booting his equipment back up. I can play for you Jeffery Simmons, who this was not the order that I want to play it in, but Jeff was very pointed in his commentary today about J.C. Latham and about everybody who's not performing up to the standard of the team. We'll start with Jeff, and then Robert will be back in time to play the J.C. Latham commentary.
Too many self-inflicted things today, like all around. I mean, say what we want, but I mean, 3 and out. We got to be better. I'm tired of sugarcoating it. We need to be better, especially at home. Can't have that many false starts. We need to be better. I mean, we can't keep sitting up here saying the same thing, trying to sugarcoat it for the media, for anybody. And I said it in the locker room, I said it on the field. I'm tired of sugarcoating it. I mean, we need to be better. At the end of the day, we need to protect Cam better. Simple.
How do you guys feel as a defense when knowing if you give up 2 touchdowns or whatever, that it's going to be hard to win?
Man, at the end of the day, it's about complementing football. We have to play better team football. Sometimes the offense will be playing good. Sometimes the defense, but how can we play good as a team, 3 faces? We not playing good team football right now, and it's showing. And Mike said it at practice Friday. We had freaking 4 false starts Friday. We playing at home. We shouldn't have them in the false starts. Don't care. I'm tired of trading feelings. I'm tired of losing. That's what I'm tired of doing. I mean, guys on this team fight. Reed fighting. Arden, we fought all the way back from injuries. That's because the team and this game means so much to us. Everybody has to take the same approach. Take this approach. We grown men. Everybody have a job to do, and we need to attack this game. We need to attack every day with a better attitude. And like I said, we need to play better football as a team.
So that's Jeffery Simmons. Very pointed in his commentary. Too many false starts at home. That very rarely, and this is a bit taboo in the professional sports world, where you are providing criticisms on the side of the ball that is not yours. But Jeff's sick of it. He also went on to say in that locker room scrum that we did with Jeff today that they had a number, and I can't remember the exact number, but a number of false starts in practice on Friday walkthrough in the red zone stuff. That's just lack of attention to detail. It's a walkthrough. Like, this is not something that you should be. You're dealing with what? Speaker, music noise at practice. This is something that should be embarrassing to them. And I don't know if J.C. Latham's not embarrassed. And Robert is dealing with a situation where it seems his computer is fried. So I have in front of me the transcript for J.C. Latham. It would be better if you could hear J.C. in his own words. Robert is currently flipping breakers, it seems, to try and get his power back on. But in the absence of that, I can read you the J.C. Latham transcript because I do have the full transcript in front of me. So we'll just go through the list, and I'll read you the question and then his response. Question: anything in particular that led to the false start penalties? No, that's a mental thing. You just got to do better. Question: was there something different? You say mental, but yeah, nothing different, just penalties. Can't get penalties. Question: what were the mental issues that caused the penalties? JC: we called a cadence, and when we mixed up the cadence to change procedure, I executed that poorly on 3 occasions. Question: so each of these 3 times there was a change in the cadence? JC's response: I mean, you want to vary the cadence in general, so it's like not saying I don't remember vividly what each cadence was, but you want to execute the cadence. Question: did you feel like you had to be a little bit jumpier going against the rushes that you were going against, the rushers? JC: they are premier rushers, but you just want to get off the ball, so you wouldn't say you want to jump it. Question: how much do you feel like the team, there's Robert, hurt the team, like you hurt the team with the penalties overall? Because this reading is not going well, but you understand the point. I don't know the stats on it, but this is where I really, where JC lost me. Because like the cadence stuff, I can understand. If the quarterback is having a cadence issue, then understandably that would cause some commotion on the offensive line. But what I have here is the answer on how much you feel like how much he felt he hurt the team with the penalties overall. Quote: I don't know the stats on it, but I know we converted one of them. I know we scored on the other drive, but I don't remember the second one. I think we got a field goal, but I think at the end of the day, it's not about how I feel. I think you just want to play penalty-free. Penalties hurt the team and kill drives. Listen, brother, the video is in there now. I guess you can hear from JC in his own words. I appreciate Robert getting that back and going, because that's it's an unexpected circumstance, but we battle through adversity around here on a primetime program, and we're back, and we will make it work for you. I will let you hear from JC Latham in his own words rather than me reading his words, and perhaps there's different tone or different context that you may be able to take from this, and maybe you have a different reaction than I did. But I was thoroughly disappointed in J.C. Latham on the field and off the field today. This was the Titans starting right tackle.
Can't get a penalty.
What was behind the mental?
Ain't nothing. We called the cadence. We wanted to mix up the cadence to change the procedure. I executed that poorly on three occasions.
So each of those 3 times there was a change in the cadence?
This is the cadence. Like, you want to vary the cadence in general. So it's like, I'm not saying I don't remember vividly what each cadence was, but I'm saying like you want to execute the cadence.
So it doesn't go into the full thing there, but that's the J.C. Latham response. Now he's doing something with his mouth there because he took his grills out before he spoke to the media. And I guess, I've never myself had grills, so I'm not sure. I imagine that creates a saliva situation that you got to work through, which is why he's making those weird movements with his mouth while he's trying to answer some of the questions that we're asking him. But yeah, the one on the where he's listing, yeah, we scored a field goal on the one drive. Well, yeah, but in spite of you, brother, because you had 3 false starts and a holding penalty in one game. They were penalized heavily as an offensive line. In fact, I think Dan Moore and Peter Skoronski were the only two that. I don't think Zeitler had a penalty called against him, but still, they were not good as an offensive line unit. And we know the Texans are good, but that was just bad. It was just bad. It's body language. It's lack of accountability. If I'm a Titans fan, and I'm of two minds of this, right? Because as a media person, I do want the players to be able to be honest. But I do think that there are some things that are okay to be left unsaid in public settings. And if you have a conversation with a media member off the side to give them additional context about this, but not in front of cameras and microphones, where you're talking about cadence, because at that point, it sounds like you're blaming your rookie quarterback. And Cam, to his credit, in the press conference, took the blame for his cadence impacting one of those situations. He did not feel that he impacted the offensive line with regularity at that point in time. He himself brought up the cadence issue that he experienced, but JC is having an issue on 4 different plays, and there's holding on every play. So maybe I give him credit or just kind of say, all right, you're going to get a hold from time to time, especially against Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. So let's just make it about the false starts. 3 false starts at home. It's not acceptable. You're coming off a bye. You're that sloppy. Unacceptable. You're going to play that poorly anyway, on top of getting penalties that set your team back constantly. Unacceptable. He knows that. He played at Alabama, for God's sakes. It's not like J.C. Latham is unaware of how to comport himself, how to handle himself. But nobody knows how to handle themselves, it seems, in that locker room, except for Jeffery Simmons when there is this sheer amount of losing. That was the most disappointing part to me today, because I didn't think that J.C. Latham was that person. And maybe he's still not. Again, young player in a tough situation that's battling a number of different things, including the injury that bogged him down at the start of the year. I am not in a situation where I'm telling people, well, give up on J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham's a bust. Now you need a new right tackle. But he's just been bad this season. He's just genuinely been bad. And I think that in a lot of these circumstances, I don't know who's capable of reaching J.C. Latham in terms of, hey, man, you just got to get this shit figured out. Like, you can't be this. You got to grow up faster. I know that's not fair. I know that's hard, but that's life in the NFL. You got to grow up faster. Your offensive line coach got fired. Life happens fast in the NFL. Well, he resigned. He didn't get fired, but his son got fired, who was the head coach. And then as a result, the offensive line coach in Bill Callahan resigned, which, by the way, I heard a funny story that I'm not sure how to properly articulate about Bill Callahan's last day in the building. But there was to not share too many details without being able to give you guys the full extent of the story. There was a little bit of defiance on Bill Callahan, or from Bill Callahan, on the way out the door, apparently, regarding a Titans mission statement that is apparently taking up one of the walls of the facility. I have not myself seen this, because they won't let us anywhere outside of the realm where we are supposed to exist. In fact, the Titans are and by the day getting more and more self-conscious, especially not the front office, but the business side of the Titans are very I would say insecure, and understandably so. They're getting shit wrong left and right, and they're probably feeling the heat from Amy Adams Strunk, and that's different from football, where you have front office and coaching, and you have business, which is marketing, team president, things like that, and you have 2 team presidents. Obviously, you have Chad Brinker, you have Burke Nihill. Burke Nihill is president and CEO, but still, like, there's just a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of this stuff that's just it's bad. It's a toxic environment that they have created, and a lot of that is bleeding down from the business side into football unnecessarily. So there's apparently a Titans mission statement on a wall somewhere in the facility, and they asked everybody. It's kind of like a pledge. Like when you play for the Tennessee Titans, when you work for the Tennessee Titans, the organization, you commit to these tenets. And I haven't seen the wall itself. I don't even know what the wall says, but apparently they asked for people's signatures across the organization, and the coaching staff did not sign this because it's a little hokey and whatever. And okay, we'll let the media people or the social media people, we'll let the ticket sales people sign the pledge or whatever. Apparently Bill Callahan on his way out the door signed it in big bold letters on afterwards over a bunch of people's names as a kind of a double middle finger situation to the Titans organization. Again, I'm hearing this secondhand. I have not myself seen this, but it's there's enough people in there who are also believing that this is a ridiculous circumstance that the Titans have created unto themselves. And that was one of the examples that was cited to me upon Bill Callahan's resignation. So there's a lot of nonsense going on right now, but I am thoroughly disappointed in J.C. Latham. And I'm sure J.C. Latham's disappointed in himself. This is somebody who I think holds himself to a high standard, which is why I'm surprised that he's one of the people producing this kind of behavior. That's not who he's supposed to be. And hopefully he grows from this, he learns from this, and people like Jeff Simmons, who again offer pointed commentary, and I'll give you that pointed commentary again, because I think Jeff is speaking directly to JC both in this media session, but I'm sure Jeff is telling JC all of this same shit in much stronger terms at practice, especially if they're committing the kind of false starts in practice that they are in these games.
I had too many self-inflicted things today, like all around. Say what we want, but I mean, 3 and out. We got to be better. I'm tired of sugarcoating it. We need to be better, especially at home. Can't have that many false starts. We need to be better. I mean, we can't keep sitting up here saying the same thing, trying to sugarcoat it for the media, for anybody. And I said it in the locker room, I said it on the field. I'm tired of sugarcoating. I mean, we need to be better. At the end of the day, we need to protect Cam better. Simple.
How do you guys feel as a defense when knowing if you give up 2 touchdowns or whatever, that it's going to be hard to win?
Man, at the end of the day, it's about complementing football. We have to play better team football. Game ball, AK. Down the drain. Sometimes the offense will be playing good. Sometimes the defense. But how can we play good as a team, three-face? We're not playing good team football right now, and it's showing. And Mike said it at practice Friday. We had freaking 4 false starts Friday. We playing at home. We shouldn't have that many false starts. Don't care. I'm tired of taking feelings. I'm tired of losing. That's what I'm tired of doing. I mean, guys on this team fight. Ridge fighting. Arden, we fought all the way back from injuries. That's because the team and this game means so much to us. Everybody has to take that same approach. Take this approach. We grown men. Everybody have a job to do, and we need to attack this game. We need to attack every day with a better attitude. And like I said, we need to play better football as a team.
So that's Jeff Simmons, really with pointed criticism. And again, he's not saying anything to us that he's not saying to his own teammates. Ann Hirsch says Arden is so loud. That wasn't Arden. Somebody's talking about Arden Key getting a game ball that he was robbed of because the Titans blew it at the end. So I'm not sure who's saying AK in the background, but AK is obviously Arden Key. Arden's not speaking in the third person. There, Kitty Cat Jones, which is a funny name on YouTube, says, Buck, are you ever going to be able to go into more detail about the toxic environment? I mean, yeah, sure. There's plenty of stuff that you hear, and you're again, you don't see it with your own eyes. You just hear what's going on the inside, and whether it's people concerned about, like me, for example, this is not relevant to winning football games, but one of the things that they are overwhelmingly concerned about, again, I don't think the football people give a shit, but I think the business people who are running the football team care too much about criticisms by people like me, by people like Paul Kaharski, by just generally anybody who's critical of what they're doing right now, and they are taking it personally when it's not personal criticism. And yeah, some of it is funny to point and laugh at after the fact, and I understand that does border on personal, but they have turned themselves into a clown show, so understandably so. They deserve to be treated as such. That's not necessarily personal. It is just factually accurate based on what they've become. So hypersensitivity to a lot of commentary on social media, certainly to things that I'd say on prime time or on the radio show, they are hypersensitive too. I think that they are going to continue to be this kind of insecure until they win games, and they can still be those kind of people. And again, I don't think they're bad people. I just think they're making bad decisions. I think they're making rash decisions. I think they're worried about the wrong shit. So I can't give you specific examples right now about things without better examples of who and what and why. And I just don't think that other than me hearing secondhand from people that that work in these environments and are having to deal with these environments, and people who have been in this environment, but many people who have been moved on from in these ecosystems. And you might consider some of that bitter commentary from former employees. But they are clearly trying to become something that they are not. This whole idea of the new Titans, new stadiums, new primary uniform colors, new quarterbacks. I think that they think that they are going to create new fans in the middle of all this. And I think some of the stuff is misleading them as far as, no, you have to continue to cater to the fan base that you currently have, because God bless you people who still support them. And some of the stuff that they're doing, if you are the P1s, shouldn't be left behind for the idea that there will be new fans that will come once this beautiful palace to bullshit football is finally open. They are very much concerned with the new stadium. There's a media invite this week it's the one thing that they're proud of at this point in time that they want to actively promote. And if you give me a moment, I can pull up the advisory that was sent to us about this, because it's the one thing that they want to continue to promote at a level that, did I delete that? I might have deleted that email because I'm not going to go and care about, them putting a new, the crowning or whatever the thing, the steel top of the new stadium is supposed to be. There's going to be some kind of ceremony for it. Apparently Titans business executives are going to speak on it, but that's their thing, right? They're very concerned with the new stadium and everything going right with the new stadium. And that's not what matters. What matters is you haven't won a home game in 377 days. 377 days since they beat a bad Patriots team coached by Gerard Mayo at home. They're worried about the wrong stuff. And so, yeah, the criticism is going to continue to come. And whether it's, Amy Adams Strunk or anybody else who takes that criticism personally, nobody means it personally. It is about the status of your business. Your business is a failing business. And maybe not in terms of financial sense, because you're making money, because NFL teams just make money no matter how bad you are. But you are running a business that was at one time both profitable and effective on the field. You've completely lost sight of the most important thing. So I don't know how that gets corrected, other than Cam Ward and Mike Borgonzi gets to do the kind of things that he was hired to do. And they go out and hire a coach that can cover up some of this stuff, and they continue to draft well. Chimere Dike, by the way, who left with a chest contusion today. Alec Iamaner was in and out of the blue tent today. Those of you who want the Xavier Restrepo experience may well get it, because they're running out of players. They were down to Mason Kinsey, Alec Iamaner, kind of. And who was the other wide receiver? Chim was still playing for a period of time. Van Jefferson. They're just running out of players on top of everything else. Chim was not a concussion. He was checked for a concussion. He does not have a concussion. He has a chest contusion. Though the initial report or the initial announcement in the press box was that he was being evaluated for concussion. Apparently he is not in the concussion protocol as of right now. So it's a lot of disappointing things about the way that this team performed today and about the way that this team operates. And it just, it's going to continue to compound until at some point, you just feel like it's got to cycle through to a more competitive thing. But you can't assume that, because they've lost all benefit of the doubt and continue to do so in ways that are clear and obvious. I wish that I didn't have to care about all these other things that are not football, but because all of these other things that are not football continue to try and influence or impact football in ways that are problematic, it continues to bring us back to things that are not football related, when the football should be the most important thing. So we move on. As we talk about Calvin Ridley, who experienced an injury today, Fair or foul? Calvin Ridley has played his last game as a Titan. We'll get into that together. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can interact with the show. Fair or foul is the question that I'm asking you. You can give one of those two responses, and you can provide additional commentary if you so choose. Has Calvin Ridley played his last game as a Tennessee Titan after less than 2 years on the roster? I'll remind you the primetime program made possible by Trumav Fitness in the Gulch. You go to TruMavFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TruMavFitness.com for more details. Also made possible because we want to get you guys back in time for Sunday Night Football by Simon Says Nashville. I don't have my new Simon Says clothes in the office with me. I promise that I will wear them one night on the show so you can see what they're working with. And I got it for 40% off. And not just because we work with Simon Says, but because you can get it for 40% off. They've got all kind of new inventory as well. But their stuff is always great, especially for fall. If you like being cozy, if you like corduroy, if you like flannels, if you like jackets, jean jackets, all manner of different things. It's the premier men's clothing spot in Nashville, Tennessee. It's simonsaysnashville.com. All right, fair or foul? Has Calvin Ridley played his last game for the Tennessee Titans? Yes, I would say fair. I would not expect Calvin Ridley to return to this organization. Calvin Ridley caught the first pass of the game. It was a reception for 13 yards. It was the first offensive play for the Tennessee Titans, and he broke his fibula doing it. He had just returned after several games, missing several games since Vegas. He's been out with a hamstring injury. He came back. To his credit, he was ready to go, caught the first pass of the game, broke his fibula, and now will miss the remainder of the season, according to Mike McCoy. Calvin Ridley's contract is something that they can get out from under in 2025, if they are in 2026, rather, this coming off season, if they so choose. They will eat some dead money to do it. And obviously there will be injury situations that don't require them to pay the full brunt of the money that he may be owed. But Calvin Ridley's 4-year, $92 million contract that was given out by Rand Carthon at his age of 30 was technically a 2-year, $51 million deal with a $16 million cap hit after the year 2025. Now, that number would be down to $13 million if they were to cut him this coming offseason. If they were to keep him, Calvin Ridley's cap hit would be 26.7, which, of course, is untenable. Given his lack of production, his 2027 cap hit would be 27.25 million. He would have a dead cap hit of 5 million. So they would eat 13 million or thereabouts to move on from Calvin Ridley. They have the cap space to do so. Calvin, especially, he will be age 32 by the time he returns from this injury. I don't know what he's going to look like coming off the broken fibula. I know that he was unreliable so far this season. It should be his last game in Tennessee, and I don't think Calvin's a bad person. I do think Calvin is an underachieving player here. It's disappointing because I don't think that Calvin has been an underachieving player. His Falcons career obviously came to an end for reasons that were less than scrupulous, and I don't think that he exceeded any expectations in Jacksonville in the 1 year that he was there after he came back from the year-long suspension for gambling-related issues. But in Tennessee, it has been an overwhelming disappointment, and I don't think that they benefit from keeping him, and I don't think that he's so important to the offense because they've done enough, I guess, at this point without him to where you don't think about Calvin Ridley's impact in the offense. And I think at that point, it's just better to get younger, cheaper, and faster. And so you move on from Calvin Ridley. You should move on from Calvin Ridley. The disappointing part is that he will be injured for an extended period of time. And so any idea that you might be able to trade Calvin, though that contract, I don't envision a scenario in which that contract in full is tradable without eating some money. Maybe you could have, but now you remove yourself from any opportunity to trade Calvin Ridley because he will be dealing with injury on top of the bad contract that Rand Carthon gave out to Calvin Ridley. So the Rand Carthon era is not being covered in glory at this point in time. 2024 looks like a real nightmare scenario. J.C. Latham has not panned out. Tavondre Sweat is considered to be an underachiever, even though he has talent. Jarvis Brownlee has already been cut, or rather traded. James Williams, I don't think he's long for this roster either. L'Jarius Sneed is, we haven't even talked. I mean, we did, I guess, get that news on Thursday evening in the middle of doing prime time that L'Jarius Sneed, there is video of him driving the car that shots were emanating from the passenger side of in that incident in Dallas in which he has been indicted for failure to report. that crime in Dallas County. So all of the Rand Carthon 2024 decisions that you cannot pin on Mike Vrabel and Ryan Cowden, I think it's fair to look at 2023 and say that was their show that they were running primarily, and that was not good at the end either. But Rand Carthon's 2024 has been really bad so far, or has aged very poorly so far, and again, continuing to put this Titans organization in a constant level of having to clear out the bad to try and make way for better. And the fact that J.C. Latham with the 7th overall pick has been as bad as he has is just simply unacceptable to this point. All right. We will wrap it up there. I don't think there's any need to do Sunday Funday at this point. It's just Jamar Chase spitting on Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Ramsey get tossed. I do appreciate Robert's efforts to get this thing back online in the middle of the show. I do appreciate you guys for showing up. Like the video, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube on your way out the door. Come hang out with us with Ben Jones, with Brett Kern, with me, with Lucas, with Robert tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We will diagnose some of the things that are going on with the Titans right now. We will continue to flesh out the Jeffery Simmons situation. Should Jeff want to continue to play here, he will be due a contract at some point in time. Jeff Simmons has committed himself to this organization, and if I was Jeffrey, maybe I'm a quitter in this regard, but I would not commit myself to this organization moving forward. But we can have that conversation tomorrow, because at this point, Jeffery Simmons has declared himself loudly that he will not be going anywhere. We'll debate the merits of that tomorrow morning and talk about Tennessee's big win over New Mexico State, talk about Luke Harder leaving the program, Vanderbilt, their college football playoff chances being hurt over their bye week, a lot of good NFL football to talk about today, not related to the Tennessee Titans, and just keep this train on rolling. 10-1 tomorrow on 104.5 The Zone. We will see you guys there.
I mean, if we keeping a buck right now, we ass. So we 0-4. We have, at this point, we got nothing to lose. We dropped a quarter of our fucking game.